Hello and welcome to the first video of 2019, and I'm so happy that you're joining me here for this Welcome to 2019 video. When I started Marble Gallery almost 2 years ago, I never expected to have the growth that I've had in 2 years. I went from literally 0 subscribers to almost 300 within 2 years, and this is without any kind of promoting or advertisements or anything like that. I'm just a guy who makes videos about video games and movies and my passions, and I'm happy to do this and create this content for you guys. As always, with a new year comes a host of new changes to the channel as I continue to learn this craft and also get everything kind of reorganized with the channel. Every year I like to change things up a little bit, and these are 4 major changes that I'm implementing to the channel in 2019. The first change I'm going to make here right off the bat is in 2019, I'm only going to be covering the video games that I care to cover, and games that I'm interested in. So in 2018, I tried to cover such a broad blanket of video games that I ended up purchasing more games in 2018 than I think I have in a single calendar year in my entire life. I purchased so many games that my backlog is incredibly staggering. Right now, I think the last time I looked, it's upwards of 40 to 50 games that I have in my backlog right now. And this is going between current games that were released in the past year and also classic titles that I've picked up on the side here as well. And my backlog is just so incredibly massive right now that rather than me continue going down the path that I'm going and trying to cover every single game that comes out, it makes much more sense for me to just cover the things that I personally care about. Every month, I'm only really going to be covering 1 to 2 titles per month, and I think that's going to create a better balance for the channel. This month in particular, January, at the time of you watching this video, the only game that I'm doing any true real coverage for, brand new 2019 title, is the Resident Evil 2 remake, which I cannot wait to play. Change number 2 is simple: return of the backlog. Yes, that's right. I killed Backlogged in 2018 to try and relaunch that show into what I call Play This Game, and I feel like I never interpreted that the way that I wanted to, and the reason for that was because at the time of doing that, I was only picking games that I was like, yes, you should play this game. And the problem with doing that is I don't cover the titles that I play, and I'm like, whatever. So that's why I want to bring back the return of Backlogged. So I'm going to be calling this Revenge of the Backlog, and these videos are you're probably going to see one of these at least a month as I try to chisel away at this absurd backlog. But this is going to cover a blanket of titles that were released in the last year, current gen titles, and even classic titles for Super Nintendo and original Xbox. Those are kind of my 2 older systems that I'm very passionate about collecting for right now. So Revenge of the Backlogged, and I hope to start that series in February. Change number 3, and this is a very important one that I cannot stress enough that I felt it was important to change in 2019, and that is the return of weekly videos. Yes, sometime in 2018, and I don't remember exactly when I announced it, I killed having videos every week and kind of made a self-promise and a promise on the official Facebook page and my Twitter account for Marble Gallery to post at least 4 videos a month instead of doing 1 every week. And I feel like because of that, it actually became more of a hindrance for me in creating new content. And I think it's important to have that deadline. So, and behind the scenes with my new work schedule, it's much easier for me to do that. So that just means simply on the channel, every Friday there's going to be a new video. Now, the one exception to this rule is going to be the week of E3 and also Game of the Year time, where videos just kind of come out. I also plan on making some changes with how I produce a Game of the Year content at the end of 2019, but that's so far out of the way, we'll get to that when the time comes. The final change I want to talk about is the return of live streams. Now, live streams are something that I am passionate about. Unfortunately, this past year being how hectic my real life work schedule was, I didn't get to do as much for Horror Fest as I had originally planned. Now, with a better work-life balance that I currently have at my job, I'm able to have a bigger and better live stream schedule. So the plan right now, I have 2 plans for live streams, and again, this will also start in the month of February. Plan number 1, yes, I had started a run of Mass Effect. Unfortunately, for Two reasons that is dead. Number one, I recently behind the scenes changed everything over to a Samsung Evo SSD and put that in my machine, and now I'm able to edit off of that drive, and it's so much better. It's so much faster than running off a mechanical drive. I've been running off a mechanical drive this whole time behind the scenes, and let me tell you, the difference is night and day. Secondly, because of that change, I unfortunately lost all of the assets, and as well, I lost the save files and all of that stuff in the process of data migration. So because of that, the Mass Effect run is dead. It's unfortunate because I was really enjoying playing through a heavily modded version of that game to almost look like a current HD remaster that everybody wants here in 2018. However, because that is dead, rising from the ashes of that, I plan on doing a full run of one of my favorite games of the last generation. I want to do the entire trilogy, and that is Castlevania Lords of Shadow. I love this series. I love especially the original Lords of Shadow, and I want to do a run of Lords of Shadow Mirror of Fate, which was kind of the Metroidvania one that was set in between, that was a 3DS game, and then it came out on all other platforms, and then finally Lords of Shadow 2. I want to revisit Lords of Shadow 2, even though I found that game to be very mediocre in comparison to the great first one. I want to return to it. So these are going to be runs of the PC versions of these games. I plan to do this video series in particular every other Friday. And I will post a schedule for that as we get closer to February. With the alternating Fridays, I plan on doing just kind of a whatever stream. These can be different titles that I've picked up. Maybe it's something I'm looking at that I want to do a video on backlogged, but I actually want to take a first look at it. I want to plan on streaming stuff like that, and that'll be a wide range of games, and I want to alternate it every other Friday, but there might be a Friday here or there that I take off from doing it as well. So those are the four big major changes coming to Marble Gallery in 2019. Again, I want to thank you so much for your continued support of the channel, and as always, remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time.